Enterprise change, true change within an environment requires strategic thinking. You can't just start with a technology, for example, cloud or data consolidation or AI. All of these are huge IT-based projects, and you cannot get there just by jumping in. It's more about the strategy and the concepts you have in order to produce results. And today we're going to talk over 4 of those core attributes that I believe make up a successful execution of any large task. So stay tuned. We're going to jump right to it. So you can see right there on the screen, foundation, sharing, agility, and metrics. Without these 4 core elements, and I would add in there a communication or marketing phase. But without this core infrastructure, it will be very difficult to move any project down the road. So let's go ahead and just talk about a few of these specifically. Foundation. So you have to have a firm foundation of task management before you can truly get started with any large initiative of change. Now, good, bad, or indifferent, you need to start with some source of truth that allows you to prioritize, review, and constantly be involved with all of the tasks that are occurring without overwhelming you. Now, I know for years we've used systems like Microsoft's Project, for example, that lists everything out, and you have to have a project manager to review all that stuff, and that's all great as well. Although there are ways to do it that are a little more automated that can still keep you kind of tuned into what's going on without you having to know every last detail. Some of that really in the foundation is that increased visibility and the ability to delegate as needed. The second primary component here of success is accountability. You have to have a level of accountability. Now, accountability often in large projects, you have very little, if any, control over who's doing the tasks. This means that you're going to have to get very creative on how to collaborate and drive accountability. Accountability allows you to truly move the ball into the court that you want it in. It allows you to take the action that you need to be successful. Centralized file sharing, team transparency, focused comments that are focused on the task, all key elements for collaboration. For me, I believe that a task, an effort that needs to be accomplished, is documented, and then all of the communication related to that effort is consolidated within a journal associated with that task. Email just becomes a mechanism in which you can communicate with those outside of the circle of people who are executing the task. But for people that are executing the task that have the same access to the task management platform, which, by the way, should be a flat organization. In other words, everybody should see everybody else's tasks. And in that environment, now email no longer plays a role. The communication is there, but the communication is very, very focused on what it is that you're trying to get accomplished. What is it that you did in a journal? And then what's next that needs to be done? And the task itself is flipped constantly between different members of the team. This promotes great collaboration. In addition, reduces the amount of time you have to spend finding specific data related to any given outcome. The next section here is agility and flexibility. So you need to be able to communicate in a way that the people external to your tasking environment that's creating and managing this change that you are adopting, you need to be able to communicate with them at their level. You know, it's like going into a country where you speak one language, everybody else speaks the other language, and being upset because the other people aren't speaking the same language you are. You can't expect that from people, and you can't expect that in task management either. And in the ability to truly impact enterprise change, you have to meet them where they are. And so the system that you're using has to be able to truly understand what it is that and the mechanisms by which they communicate, and have that agility and flexibility to be able to accommodate that without creating an enormous workload for you trying to adapt to them. You know, it's like going into a foreign country and using Google Translate to constantly translate everything that somebody else is saying. It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. So you want to make sure that whatever task program that you're using, my preference again is to have more of a very simple environment that allows for journaling, public information for next steps, and then to chart success. Becomes very easy using cut and paste between email messages and thread on external partners. Every communication, in my opinion, needs to be focused on the task, and every communication with external parties related to that task should have key information within that email, like, for example, the name of the task, the ID of the task, when the task is due and when the next follow-up is due, and the history related to that task. Those are all important components to put in that email communication or whatever that communication method is in order to solicit input or produce output for external parties to your tasking and change environment. The last really is metrics, and I know I haven't marked there as agile and flexible, but I should have changed the title. But really, this is metrics. And this is probably one of the areas where most people fall short when it comes to enterprise change. They forget that people around them have no idea in most cases what is going on, why what you're doing is so important, and how it relates to business processes that they care about. Again, back to our example about two individuals speaking two different languages. You have to meet them where they're speaking. So if that is the COO or the CFO, you have to be able to have your tasks and all of this great information that you're collaborating with others on to be able to focus down and into usable metrics that can show that A, you're moving forward, B, that you're in control, and C, that it's producing results that are important to that individual. This is a big challenge. And with most task management programs, like Planner, for example, even Project and others, they fall short on reporting and metrics. And it is, in my opinion, probably the most important thing in order to sustain change within any environment. Look, anybody can start a change activity and attempt to make it work. And when you're talking about large enterprise systems, especially when you're talking about computer systems, that change could be years before it gets implemented. So you have to, along the way, continue to feed everyone around you, or interest in the project will fall short. And when that happens, financing stops, and people think critically about it, and you lose control over the change that you're trying to implement. But if you implement a solid, as we've discussed here, a solid foundation of task management that focuses on collaboration and accountability and provides agility and flexibility, and you're successfully communicating with your leaders, keeping them in tune. Remember, they don't have to understand everything that you're doing. They only have to understand that it is being done and that you are in control, and they'll have that confidence that you can implement this change. Now, be prepared if they want to learn more about the nitty-gritty details to be able to produce that in reporting that does not cost you a day, a week just to create a report. So you want to make sure you can give that. But generally speaking, you want to be able to just communicate with metrics on what your success has been and where you're going in the future. These are 4 simple things that I have found helpful for me in my career as I've been a change agent for over 4 decades now. This is a tried and true system. Granted, this is a 500,000 foot level view of this topic, but I know that it works, and I hope that it works for you as well. Good luck.